My 15-year-old daughter accused me of being homophobic 57 times while allowing online strangers to coordinate her escape from our house, as we quietly read LGBTQplus parenting books every night, so I cut all contact. That was 6 months ago. Can you imagine your own child, the one you adore, screaming at you, calling you a homophobe 57 times, all while secretly plotting to run away with strangers she met online? That's my life. That's what Emma did. It all started just 6 months ago. My Emma, our amazing, vibrant 15-year-old daughter, our only kid, came out to us. She told us she was gay, and my husband and I, we were beyond accepting. We were thrilled that she felt safe enough to share her truth. We spent nights staying up late, poring over articles, reading LGBTQ+ parenting books, desperate to be the best allies, the most supportive parents we could possibly be. We were so proud of her. But then things took a turn. Her attitude shifted drastically. Every single conversation, every single interaction, became about gay people, about the discrimination they face. And listen, I'm not denying those issues are real. They absolutely are. My problem started when she demanded we try harder to be her allies. At first, Drake, my husband, and we tolerated it. We tried to be patient. But it became harder and harder to just bite our tongues. The worst part? If anyone disagreed with her on any topic, even if it had absolutely nothing to do with her sexuality, she'd instantly pull out the homophobia card. Drake and I became constant targets of this. And let me tell you, there's a special kind of pain when the daughter you love dearly, the one you truly support, claims you're homophobic and that you don't love her. It was soul-crushing. Then, yesterday evening, it all exploded during dinner. It's Pride Month, and Emma had dyed her hair rainbow. Which cool. I have nothing against it. I think Pride is a good cause. We both support it. We'd even promised her weeks ago we'd go to the parade with her. But last night, she launched into a monologue about how important Pride was, how everyone needed to show support. She then declared it was disgusting for a straight person not to openly participate, comparing it to racism. We tried to talk it through, but then she hit us with it. She wanted us to dye our hair for Pride. Any rainbow color, she said. I tried to explain calmly that while we supported her completely, that wasn't something we were going to do. We just didn't see how us dyeing our hair would truly do anything. That was it. She blew up, raging, calling us homophobic, saying we didn't support her, that we were anti-gay. My husband, bless him, just snapped. Stop, he roared. It was so loud it actually made me jump. Emma instantly went quiet, but her eyes were still burning with fury. Drake, his voice now lower but laced with pure steel, told her to check her privilege. She tried to argue. How am I privileged? She spat. And his response? It hit me like a cold wave. He told her she was fortunate enough to be gay in a country where the LGBTQ+ community isn't treated like animals. He said she gets to prance around, calling people names, screaming homophobia every time she doesn't like something. Then he pulled out his phone. Look, he commanded. It was a video. Gay people in less progressive countries, speaking about their brutal realities, followed by a video, a truly horrific one, of a gay person being punished. My stomach lurched. When it ended, Drake told her, that, Emma, is the reality for a lot of gay people. The fact that you scream homophobia at us for not dyeing our hair is incredibly insensitive to them. Not dyeing our hair isn't homophobia. And if you think it is, then you've been brainwashed. She just left. Didn't say much. And she's barely spoken to us since. The next morning, I tried to pretend everything was normal. I made breakfast, set 3 plates. Drake came down, tired, but we didn't talk about it. Emma's door stayed shut. I knocked. No answer. I left a plate outside her room, then watched through the kitchen window as she eventually retrieved it, retreating back into her silence. The eggs I'd made for her sat cold on the counter. My sister, Linda, called. She must have heard the tremor in my voice. I spilled everything, pacing in the laundry room, folding the same towel over and over. Linda listened. Sarah, you need to give her space, she said. But not too much. She's 15 and she's hurting. I hung up and stared at Emma's door. The rainbow flag sticker she put up last week, the one she'd been so proud of, felt like it was mocking me. Now that door felt like a wall. Drake came home early. I could see the weight of last night still on his shoulders. He went straight to her door. "Emma, we need to talk," he said, his voice gentle but firm. "Go away," came the muffled reply. "I'm not going anywhere," he said. He sat down on the floor outside her room, back against the wall. I brought him coffee and joined him. We waited, talking to the closed door, telling her we loved her, that we wanted to understand. Finally, the door cracked open. Emma, her eyes red and puffy, peered out. "What do you want?" she asked. "To talk," I said. "To understand." She opened the door wider but didn't invite us in. She stood there in her pajamas, her rainbow hair messy. So young. So vulnerable. Nothing like the angry activist from last night. "I hate you," she said, but there was no venom. Just exhaustion. "No, you don't," Drake said softly. "You're angry, and that's okay." Her face crumbled and she turned, walking back into her room, leaving the door open this time. We followed. Her laptop was open on her bed. I caught glimpses of online forums, social media, before she quickly closed it. "Everyone online says parents who really support their kids show it," she said, sitting cross-legged. "They say if you're not willing to make sacrifices, you're not really an ally." I sat beside her. "Who is everyone?" I asked. She shrugged. "People in my groups. Other kids who came out. They share stories about their parents doing all these things." She trailed off, picking at her comforter. "You just what?" Drake prompted gently. "I wanted you to be like them," Emma whispered. "I wanted to show everyone that my parents were the best allies." My heart actually broke. "Emma, honey," I started. "Our love for you isn't something we need to prove to strangers online. But they don't know us." Drake interrupted, his voice passionate. "They don't know our family. They don't know how we stayed up reading every article, looking into therapists, changing our insurance to cover any care you might need. We didn't announce it online or dye our hair because that's not what love looks like in our family." Emma looked up, surprised. "You have?" she whispered. "We have," I nodded. She was quiet for a moment. "Isabel's mom got a pride tattoo." "Good for Isabel's mom," I said. "But I'm not Isabel's mom. I'm yours." "And you're disappointed in me?" Emma said, her voice small. "No," Drake said firmly. "We're not disappointed in you. We're concerned. There's a difference." I gently touched her rainbow hair. "This is beautiful, by the way. The colors really suit you." She gave me a watery smile. "You're just saying that." "I'm not," I insisted. "But Emma, we need to talk about what's really going on. This isn't just about hair dye, is it?" She shook her head. "Kids at school have been weird since I came out. Some are mean, but others are just different. Like they don't know how to act around me anymore." "That must be really hard," I said. "And then online everyone's talking about pride, about being visible and proud. And I just felt like I wasn't doing enough. Like I wasn't gay enough." Drake moved to sit on her other side. "There's no such thing as not being gay enough. You are who you are." "But what if I'm doing it wrong?" Emma asked, her voice cracking. "What if I'm not the right kind of gay?" I pulled her into a hug, and she didn't resist. "There is no wrong way to be yourself, sweetheart." She started to cry then. Really cry. Not the angry tears from last night, but deep, scared, confused tears. Drake and I held her while she sobbed, her rainbow hair bright against my shoulder. When she finally calmed down, I asked, "What happened with your friends?" She wiped her nose. "I called Mia homophobic because she said she couldn't go to Pride with me. She said she had family plans, but I thought she was just making excuses." "Was she?" Drake asked. Emma shrugged. "I don't know. Maybe. But now she won't talk to me at all." "Have you tried apologizing?" I suggested. "She won't answer my texts," Emma said miserably. After a moment of silence, she asked, "Am I a bad person?" "No," Drake and I said in unison. "You're a teenager figuring things out," I added. "We all make mistakes when we're trying to find ourselves." She leaned against me. "I'm sorry I called you homophobic." "You're not." "I know you're not." "Thank you," Drake said. "And I'm sorry I yelled." I shouldn't have lost my temper. The videos were really scary, Emma said quietly. I know, Drake said. Maybe I shouldn't have shown them to you. I just wanted you to understand that there are people facing real danger for being who they are. I get it, Emma said. I've been pretty privileged, haven't I? We all are in different ways, I said. The important thing is recognizing it and using it to help others, not to tear down the people who love you. She nodded, looking smaller, deflated. The righteous anger was gone, replaced by uncertainty. What do I do now? She asked. First, I said, you might want to take a shower. Then maybe we can talk about reaching out to Mia. A real apology, not a text. She hates me, Emma said. She's hurt, Drake corrected. There's a difference. Emma sighed. Everything was easier before I came out. Was it? I asked gently. Or were you just hiding who you really were? Emma thought about it. I guess I was hiding, but at least I knew how to act. You'll figure it out, Drake assured her. It takes time. The people online make it seem so easy, Emma said. Like you come out, and suddenly you're this confident, proud person who knows exactly who they are. People online show their best moments, I reminded her. Not the messy, complicated parts. Emma scrolled through her phone. This girl has supportive parents who do everything with her. They have matching pride outfits and go to every event together. I looked at the photo. That's lovely for them. But Emma, every family shows love differently. I know, she said, but she didn't sound convinced. Drake gently took the phone. How about this? No social media for the rest of the day. Just us. As a family. Emma looked panicked. But what if? What if what? Drake asked. The world won't end if you're offline for a few hours. She reluctantly agreed. We spent the afternoon together watching a movie, making dinner. Slowly, I saw glimpses of our Emma again. Not the angry activist, not the scared teenager, but Emma. Just Emma. Linda called that evening. I told her things were better. She offered to come over the next day. I think that might help, I admitted. Emma might open up to you in ways she won't with us. It's not about choosing sides, Linda assured me. It's about helping her navigate this. After hanging up, I found Drake watching Emma sleep. Her rainbow hair was spread across the pillow. She looked peaceful for the first time in weeks. We're going to be okay, right? He asked. I slipped my hand into his. We're going to be okay. But even as I said it, I wondered what okay would even look like for us now. Emma was changing and we were all struggling to keep up. Our quiet acceptance wasn't enough anymore. She needed more. But what was more? I thought about the Pride Parade. We'd promised to go. Was that enough? Was our quiet support insufficient in a world that demanded visible allyship? These thoughts kept me awake. I loved my daughter fiercely, but I was realizing love alone might not bridge the gap growing between us. I drifted off, not knowing the next few weeks would test our family in ways I never could have imagined. Linda arrived the next morning, carrying her World's Okayest Aunt t-shirt. Emma actually smiled when she saw it. The first genuine smile in days. They disappeared into Emma's room. Drake and I pretended to be busy, straining to hear their conversation. An hour later they emerged. Emma's eyes were red-rimmed, but clearer. Linda pulled me aside. She's drowning in online echo chambers, Linda explained quietly. These groups are telling her any parent who doesn't perform allyship publicly is secretly homophobic. She's terrified of not being accepted by this community she's found. Drake joined us. So what do we do? Linda sighed. Set boundaries. She needs to understand that love doesn't require performance. But Sarah, there's something else. She mentioned some older kids from these online groups are planning to meet up at Pride. I'm concerned about who she's talking to. My stomach dropped. Emma appeared in the doorway. I heard you talking about me. We're worried, I said simply. About what? That I have friends who actually understand me. Her defensive walls were back up. About whether these friends have your best interests at heart, Drake said carefully. Emma rolled her eyes. You just don't want me to have a community. That's not true, Linda interjected. But Emma, some of what you've been telling me about these groups concerns me. Telling you to test your parents' love, encouraging you to cut off friends who don't immediately understand? That's not healthy community. That's manipulation. Emma's face flushed. You don't understand. They're the only ones who get what I'm going through. The doorbell rang, interrupting us. I opened it to find Mia, looking uncomfortable but determined. Is Emma home? She asked quietly. I got her texts. All 57 of them. I called Emma, who froze when she saw her former best friend. They stared at each other across our entryway like it was a battlefield. You blocked me, Emma accused. You called me homophobic because I couldn't go to a movie. Mia shot back. My grandmother was in the hospital. Emma's face crumpled. I didn't know because you didn't ask. You just assumed I was abandoning you. Mia's voice cracked. I've been your best friend since second grade, Em. How could you think I'd stop caring about you just because you're gay? The girls ended up in Emma's room. We heard muffled voices, occasional crying. Linda stayed for lunch. She's isolating herself from real support while chasing validation from strangers, Linda observed. It's common in teens who come out. They're so desperate to belong they don't always recognize toxic dynamics. Drake's phone buzzed. He frowned. Emma's school just sent an email. Apparently, there was an incident yesterday. My heart sank as I read over his shoulder. Emma had gotten into a heated argument with a teacher, accusing him of censorship and homophobia for asking her to save her Pride Month presentation for the appropriate class. Why didn't she tell us? I whispered. Because she knew we'd side with the teacher, Drake said grimly. When Mia left, the girls had reconciled, but their friendship felt fragile. Emma looked exhausted. That evening, Emma showed us a group chat on her laptop. My blood ran cold reading the messages. Your parents are showing their true colors, one read. If they really loved you, they'd be willing to do anything to show support. Classic cishet behavior, another chimed in. They only accept you as long as you don't inconvenience them. Emma, these people don't know us, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. They know enough, Emma said defensively. They've been through this with their own families. Drake pointed to a message. This person is telling you to document every time we fail you. That's not support, Emma. That's encouraging you to build a case against us. Emma slammed the laptop shut. You just don't understand what it's like. You're right, I said. I don't understand what it's like to be gay, but I understand what it's like to be manipulated. These people are telling you that love comes with a checklist. At least they care. Emma shouted. We care. Drake's voice rose to match hers. We've done nothing but care since the day you were born. Then prove it. Emma screamed back. Do something that shows everyone you're not ashamed of me. Is that what you think? I asked, my voice breaking. That we're ashamed? Emma's silence was answer enough. The next few days were tense. Emma went to school, came home, locked herself in her room. Polite but distant. Like a stranger wearing my daughter's face. I caught her taking photos of our family pictures. Documentation, she muttered when I asked why. Friday afternoon, the school called. Detention. Aggressive activism. When I picked her up, she was radiating anger. They're discriminating against me, she said. They're asking you to follow the same rules as everyone else, I replied, exhausted. That's what discrimination looks like, she insisted. Making me be quiet about who I am. Nobody's asking you to be quiet. They're asking you to respect that math class is for math. Emma turned to stare out the window. Isabel's parents would understand. I gripped the steering wheel. Then maybe you should go live with Isabel's parents. The words hung between us like a slap. Her eyes filled. I didn't mean that, I said quickly. Yes, you did, she whispered. You're tired of me. Just like everyone else. That night I found Drake in the garage reorganizing tools for the third time. His coping mechanism. I'm losing her, I said. He pulled me into his arms. We're not losing her. She's just lost right now. What if we can't find her again? His silence terrified me. Saturday morning brought a new crisis. Emma announced a pre-Pride meetup with her online friends. The address was in a part of the city neither Drake nor I felt comfortable with. I'll drive you, Drake offered. No. Panic in her voice. They'll think I'm a baby. I'll drop you off a block away, he compromised. She reluctantly agreed. I watched them leave, a knot in my stomach. 2 hours later they returned. Emma in tears, Drake shaken. It took an hour to get the full story. The meetup was in an apartment. The group had spent the entire time sharing stories about their toxic families, encouraging each other to cut ties. When Emma mentioned that her parents were actually trying, she was told she was suffering from internalized homophobia and Stockholm Syndrome. They said I was betraying the community by defending you. Emma sobbed. They said I wasn't really committed to being my authentic self if I still cared what you thought. Oh, sweetheart. I pulled her close. That's not how love works. That's not how any of this works. One of them offered to let me stay with them after Pride if things got too bad at home, Emma admitted quietly. Said their apartment was a safe space for kids whose parents didn't understand. Drake and I exchanged alarmed looks over her head. Emma, you cannot go to that apartment again, Drake said firmly. You can't control me. She pulled away, her vulnerability gone. Actually, we can, I said, finding my backbone. You're 15 and those people, whoever they are predators. Maybe not in the way you're thinking, but they're preying on vulnerable kids, filling their heads with poison. Emma stood up, shaking. You just proved everything they said about you. She stormed to her room, slamming the door. Drake and I sat in stunned silence until Linda called for her weekly check-in. I told her everything. She immediately offered to come over. No, I said. I think we need to handle this ourselves. But Linda, what if we're doing everything wrong? You're not, she assured me. You're protecting her. That's what parents do. Sunday was quiet. Too quiet. Emma emerged only for meals, picking at her food, responding in monosyllables. I tried to engage her in conversation about anything but pride or sexuality, but every topic seemed to lead back there. Can we go shopping for Pride? She asked finally. I want to get some things to wear. I agreed eagerly, desperate for any normal mother-daughter activity. But the shopping trip became another battlefield. Every rainbow item I approved of wasn't authentic enough. Every suggestion was met with eye rolls. What about this? I held up a t-shirt with a subtle pride flag design. That's for corporate allies, Emma said dismissively. People who want to look supportive without actually doing anything. Emma, it's just a shirt. Nothing is just anything anymore, Mom. Everything is political. Everything makes a statement. I put the shirt back, exhausted. When did you become so angry? Her face softened for just a moment. I'm not angry. I'm scared. Okay. I'm scared that if I don't do this right, no one will accept me. Not the gay community, not the straight community. I'll just be alone. You're not alone, I said, reaching for her hand. She let me take it. You have us. You have Mia. You have people who loved you before you came out, and will love you no matter what. But what if that's not enough? She whispered. Before I could answer, her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and her face closed off again. They want to know if I'm coming to Pride with them, or with you. Who's they? I asked. My real friends, Emma said, pulling her hand away. That night I couldn't sleep. The apartment. The older kids filling her head with poison. The way she'd said real friends like we were the enemy. Drake was awake too. We have to do something, I whispered. Like what? Lock her in her room? Take away her phone? She'll just hate us more. Maybe that's what it takes, I said. Maybe being the bad guy is what protecting her looks like right now. Monday morning, Emma left for school without saying goodbye. I spent the day researching, making calls. I called PFLAG, spoke to other parents, even a family therapist specializing in LGBTQplus youth. It's more common than you'd think, the therapist told me. Kids who are newly out sometimes get caught up in toxic online spaces. They're looking for community and validation, and they don't always recognize when that community becomes harmful. When Emma came home, I was ready. We need to talk about Pride. She immediately got defensive. If you're going to tell me I can't go. No, I interrupted. We're going. All of us. Together. As a family. Emma blinked, surprised. But what about my friends? They can meet us there if they'd like. But you're going with us, staying with us, and leaving with us. That's not fair. Neither is asking us to prove our love by dyeing our hair, Drake said from the doorway. Neither is calling us homophobic every time we disagree with you. Neither is letting strangers on the internet convince you that we're your enemy. Emma's face went red. You've been spying on my conversations. No, I said. But we've been paying attention, and what we're seeing scares us. You're scared of me being gay. We're scared of you being manipulated, Drake corrected. We're scared of you cutting off everyone who actually loves you because some strangers online told you to. Emma stood up, shaking with rage. You don't understand anything. You don't know what it's like to finally find people who get you. You're right, I said. We don't. But we know what it's like to love someone so much it hurts. We know what it's like to watch that person slip away and not know how to reach them. Maybe I don't want to be reached, Emma said coldly. Maybe I'm finally becoming who I'm supposed to be. By pushing away everyone who loved you before you came out? Drake asked. That's not becoming yourself, Emma. That's letting other people tell you who to be. Emma grabbed her backpack and headed for her room. I have homework. Tuesday brought another call from school. Emma had started a petition to make the dress code more inclusive, pressuring students to sign it. When asked to stop, she'd accused the administration of systemic oppression. We support her identity, the vice principal told me carefully, but she's creating a hostile environment for other students. I apologized, promised to talk to her, and hung up feeling like a failure. How had my sweet, thoughtful daughter become this angry activist who sought enemies everywhere? That evening, Mia's mother called. I'm sorry to bother you, Sarah, but Mia is really upset. Emma's been pressuring her to come out as an ally at school, to wear pride pins, put pronouns in her bio. Mia supports Emma completely, but she's uncomfortable with public displays. Emma told her that silence equals violence. I closed my eyes. I'm so sorry. We're working on it. I know you are, she said kindly. I just thought you should know. Mia doesn't want to lose Emma's friendship, but she's walking on eggshells. After dinner, I knocked on Emma's door. We need to talk about Mia. What about her? Emma didn't look up from her laptop. You're pressuring her to do things she's not comfortable with. Emma spun around. She should want to support me. She does support you. She just doesn't want to wear pins or make announcements about it. That's not enough. Emma slammed her laptop shut. Do you know how alone I feel at school? How hard it is to be the only out kid in my grade. My heart broke. I didn't know you were the only one. Emma's anger deflated slightly. There are others, but they're older or they're not really out, just kind of, everyone knows but no one talks about it. That must be really isolating, I said, sitting on her bed. It is, Emma admitted. And then I found these groups online, and suddenly I wasn't alone. There were people who understood, who'd been through the same things. They made me feel brave. There's a difference between brave and aggressive, I said gently. You think I'm aggressive? I think you're scared and trying to control everything around you to feel safe, I said. But Emma, you can't force people to support you in exactly the way you want. That's not how relationships work. Emma was quiet. They said you'd try to make me doubt myself. Who's they, Emma? Do you even know their real names? Have you met them in person? That doesn't matter. It does matter. I insisted. These people are telling you to document your family's failures. To cut off friends who don't perform allyship correctly? To test our love with impossible demands? Does that sound like people who care about your well-being? Emma's eyes filled. At least they make me feel like being gay is something to be proud of, not something to hide. We've never asked you to hide. Haven't you? Emma interrupted. You don't want me to talk about it at dinner. You don't want me to make it my whole personality. You want me to be gay, quietly, conveniently, in a way that doesn't disrupt anything. I sat back, her words hitting hard. Is that really how she sees it? How else am I supposed to see it? Emma wiped her eyes angrily. You say you support me, but you won't do anything that shows it. We're going to Pride with you. Because I begged. Because I made it a thing, not because you wanted to. That's not. I started, then stopped. Was she right? Had we been supporting her only in ways that were comfortable for us? Drake appeared in the doorway. Can I show you something? He held out his phone. The registration confirmation for a PFLAG meeting next week. Your mom and I signed up the day after you came out. Emma looked surprised. You did. We also bought about 15 books on supporting LGBTQplus teens. I added. We've been reading them at night after you go to bed. And I changed my work benefits during open enrollment to make sure any future healthcare needs you have are covered, Drake continued. We've been doing a lot, Emma. We just haven't been advertising it. Emma stared at us. Why didn't you tell me? Because we didn't think we needed to prove our love with receipts, Drake said simply. Wednesday was a half day. Emma came home to find Linda baking cookies. Thought you might want to help, Linda said casually. Emma hesitated, then joined her. I made myself scarce, but I could hear them talking quietly. Linda had a way of getting Emma to open up without pushing. An hour later, they called me in to try the cookies. Emma seemed calmer. Aunt Linda thinks I should take a social media break, she said. She thinks it might help you figure out what you actually think versus what other people are telling you to think. Linda nodded. Emma nodded slowly. Maybe just for a few days. A small victory, but I'd take it. That evening, Emma asked if we could watch a movie. We settled on an old favorite from before everything got complicated. Halfway through, Emma leaned against my shoulder. I held my breath. I'm sorry I've been so difficult, she whispered. You haven't been difficult, I said. You've been figuring things out. I called Dad homophobic because he didn't know what demisexual meant, Emma admitted. That was really unfair. We're all learning, Drake said from her other side. Including you. Thursday morning, Emma's phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. I saw previews from her online group. They were asking why she'd been quiet, if her breeders had gotten to her, if she needed extraction. Extraction. The word chilled me to the bone. When Emma came down, I pointed to the phone. They seemed concerned. Emma read the messages and frowned. They're being dramatic. Are they? I asked. Emma, what do they mean by extraction? She shifted uncomfortably. Some kids in the group have really bad situations at home. Real abuse. The older members sometimes help them leave. And they think you need that. Drake's voice was dangerously quiet. I might have exaggerated how bad things were here, Emma admitted in a small voice. You think? I couldn't keep the sarcasm out of my voice. Emma's defenses went back up. Well, you weren't exactly making me feel supported. So you told strangers on the internet that we were abusing you? Drake stood up, his face flushed. Do you have any idea how dangerous that is? How irresponsible. I didn't say abuse. Emma protested. I just said you weren't accepting. In these groups, that's the same thing, I said. Emma, these people are planning to extract you from a loving home because you told them we wouldn't dye our hair. The reality of it seemed to hit Emma all at once. Her face paled. I didn't mean for it to go that far. But it did, Drake said. And now we have to figure out how to undo this before someone shows up at our door. Emma picked up her phone with shaking hands and started typing. We watched as she told the group she'd been overreacting, that her parents were actually supportive, that she didn't need help. The responses were immediate and harsh. They accused her of being brainwashed, of betraying the community, of not being a real ally to kids in actual danger. With each message, Emma seemed to shrink. Block them, I said firmly. All of them. No buts, Drake added. These people are toxic, Emma. They're not your friends. Emma nodded, tears streaming down her face as she blocked number after number. When she was done, she looked lost. What if I just gave up my only community? You didn't, I said, pulling her into a hug. You gave up a group of people who were using you to validate their own anger. That's not community. That's a cult. Friday arrived with a sense of cautious hope. Emma had been off social media for 2 days and already seemed more like herself. She'd apologized to Mia, had a productive conversation with her guidance counselor about appropriate activism at school, and even helped Drake cook dinner without making it about gay rights. But I knew the real test would be Pride on Sunday. The event that had started this whole conflict was now looming like a storm cloud. I don't know if I want to go anymore, Emma admitted Friday night. What if I see them there? Then we'll handle it together, I said. But Emma, Pride isn't about them. It's about you being proud of who you are. What if I don't know who that is anymore? She asked. Without the group, without the anger, I don't know how to be gay. You be Emma, Drake said simply. Emma who happens to be gay. Not gay, who happens to be named Emma. Saturday was spent in preparation. Emma decided she wanted to wear her rainbow hair with a simple outfit. I found a subtle pride pin for my purse. Drake surprised us both with a t-shirt that said, "Free Dad Hugs." "Where did you get that?" Emma asked, eyes wide. "Internet," Drake said, looking embarrassed. "I thought maybe some kid there might need one." Emma threw her arms around him. "I love you, Dad." "Love you too, kiddo." Rainbow hair and all. That night I found Emma in her room, looking through old photos. Pictures from before she came out when things were simpler. "Do you miss her?" I asked, sitting beside her. "The girl in those pictures?" Emma considered this. Sometimes. She didn't have to think so hard about everything. But she was also hiding. "I don't want to hide anymore." "You don't have to," I assured her. "But you also don't have to fight everyone who doesn't understand immediately. Sometimes the best activism is just living your life openly and happily." "The group said that was complacency," Emma said. "The group was wrong about a lot of things," I pointed out. Emma nodded. "Mom, I'm scared about tomorrow." "Me too," I admitted. "But we'll face it together." As I left her room, I felt the weight of the past few weeks. We'd weathered the storm, but this was far from over. Emma would face more challenges. More people who would try to tell her how to be gay, how to be an activist, how to be herself. But for now we were together. Bruised and shaken, but together. And tomorrow we would walk into pride as a family. Not because anyone demanded it, but because we chose to. The irony wasn't lost on me. Emma had wanted us to dye our hair to prove our love. Instead, we'd proved it by saying no, by setting boundaries, by protecting her even when she hated us for it. Sometimes love looks like rainbow hair and pride parades. Sometimes it looks like difficult conversations and blocked phone numbers. As I crawled into bed beside Drake, he pulled me close. "Ready for tomorrow?" "No," I said honestly. "But we'll do it anyway." "For Emma." "For Emma," he agreed. "And for us. For our family." We started to, but one of them spotted Emma. A young woman with a shaved head. Radical Rainbow. I recognized her username. "Emma, there you are," she called out, pushing through the crowd. "We've been worried about you." Emma pressed closer to me. "I don't want to talk to them." Radical Rainbow reached us, her eyes narrowing when she saw Drake's shirt and my pin. "These are your parents? The ones who wouldn't even dye their hair." "Leave us alone," Emma said, her voice shaking. "They've gotten to you," Radical Rainbow said, ignoring Emma. "This is exactly what we talked about. Stockholm Syndrome. You can still come with us." Drake stepped forward. "She asked you to leave us alone." Radical Rainbow laughed. "Oh, the dad wants to play protector now? Where was this energy when she needed you to show real support?" More of the group approached. I felt Emma trembling. Drake's jaw was clenched, but his voice was calm. "Real support doesn't mean following your checklist. Now, please leave my daughter alone." "Your daughter?" Another member, a young man with piercings, chimed in. "She's not your property." "Emma, you know where to find us when you're ready to be your authentic self." "This is my authentic self," Emma suddenly burst out, her voice surprisingly strong. "Standing here with my parents who love me even when I'm being horrible to them. Who stayed up reading about how to support me. Who changed their insurance for me. Who are here with me even though I called them homophobic." The group exchanged glances. Radical Rainbow reached out. "You're confused. Let us help you." Emma stepped back. "No, you're the ones who confused me. You made me think love had to look a certain way. You made me think my parents were enemies when they were just parents." "They're brainwashing you," the young man insisted. "No," Emma said, her voice stronger now. "You were brainwashing me. Making me document everything. Telling me to cut off my best friend. Planning to extract me. That's not support. That's..." She paused, searching for the word. "That's a cult," I supplied quietly. Radical Rainbow's face twisted. "You'll regret this, Emma. When they show their true colors, when they reject who you really are, don't come crying to us." "They already know who I really am," Emma said. "I'm their daughter who happens to be gay, not the other way around." The group muttered, throwing dirty looks, but eventually melted back into the crowd. Emma was shaking. Drake pulled her into a hug. "I'm proud of you," he murmured. "That was brave." "I don't feel brave," Emma said, voice muffled. "I feel like I'm going to throw up." We found a quieter spot. Emma sat on a bench taking deep breaths. I bought her water. Drake sat beside her, just being there. I really thought they cared about me, Emma said finally. They probably thought they did, I said. But caring about someone doesn't mean controlling them. Emma nodded, sipping water. Can we still watch the parade? Just from here. We spent the next hour on that bench. Emma pointed out flags, explaining their meanings. Drake asked questions, genuinely trying to understand. I watched my family, feeling something settle in my chest. A teenager approached Drake, looking nervous. Is that shirt for real? The free hugs. Drake glanced at Emma, who nodded. He stood up, opened his arms. The kid hugged him quickly, mumbled thanks, and hurried back to their friends. Drake sat down, looking stunned. That was nice, Dad, Emma said softly. 3 more kids approached over the next half hour. Each time Drake gave them a brief, awkward but genuine hug. Emma watched with something like wonder. I didn't think about other kids needing that, she admitted. Kids whose parents aren't here. Around 2 p.m. Emma's phone buzzed. She looked at it and smiled. Mia's here with her family. They're by the food trucks. Can we meet them? We made our way through the thinning crowds. Mia's parents waved us over. Mia and Emma hugged carefully like they were made of glass. I'm sorry, Emma said immediately. For everything. For calling you names. For pressuring you. For being a terrible friend. Mia's eyes filled. I'm sorry too. For not understanding how alone you felt. For blocking you instead of talking to you. The girls sat together, slowly relaxing into their old rhythm. Mia's mom caught my eye and smiled. We'd talk later. Figure out how to help the girls navigate their friendship. Emma's phone kept buzzing with messages from the blocked numbers. She finally turned it off. They're not going to stop, are they? She asked. Probably not for a while, I admitted. But you don't have to respond. You don't owe them anything. As the afternoon wore on, Emma looked tired but lighter. I want to do one more thing, she said suddenly. There's a booth over there. The LGBTQplus Youth Center. Can we go? We walked over. Emma approached hesitantly. Hi, she said to the woman staffing the table. I'm gay, and I think I've been doing it wrong. The woman in her 50s smiled gently. There's no wrong way to be gay, sweetheart. There's only your way. Emma's eyes filled. I've been so angry and scared, and I hurt people who love me because some strangers online told me to. The woman came around the table and put a hand on Emma's shoulder. That's more common than you'd think. Being young and queer is hard. Sometimes we get lost trying to find our way. She handed Emma pamphlets about youth groups, legitimate ones, with adult supervision and healthy boundaries. These might help. Real community, not the toxic kind. Emma took them, nodding. Thank you. Walking back to the car, Emma linked her arms through mine and Drake's. I'm sorry I've been such a nightmare. You haven't been a nightmare, Drake said. You've been a teenager trying to figure out who you are. With some really bad influences. Emma added. I can't believe I let them convince me you were the enemy. We're never the enemy, I said. Even when we're the bad guys. That's what parents do. Emma was quiet. That group, they're going to keep trying to contact me, aren't they? What if they show up at school or at the house? Drake's face hardened. Then we deal with it together. And with the police if necessary. Emma nodded, looking relieved. I think I want to talk to someone. Therapist, I mean. Aunt Linda mentioned someone who specializes in LGBTQ+ teens. We'll call tomorrow, I promised. Make an appointment. The drive home was peaceful. Emma dozed in the back seat, emotionally exhausted. Drake reached over and took my hand. We survived, he said quietly. The first round, I corrected. This isn't over. He squeezed my hand. But we know what we're dealing with now. At home, Emma went straight to her room. I started to worry, but then she came back down carrying her laptop. I want to delete everything, she said. All the groups, all the forums. Start fresh. We sat with her as she methodically removed herself from each toxic space. With each deletion, she seemed to breathe easier. There, she said. Finally gone. Drake kissed the top of her head. Proud of you, kiddo. Emma leaned into him. I'm proud of you too. The hugs thing. That was really cool. It felt good. Drake admitted. Helping those kids. Emma's phone rang. Linda. Hey, Aunt Linda, Emma answered. Yeah, we're home. It was a lot but good. Can I tell you about it? She wandered into the living room, talking animatedly. I could hear her describing the confrontation, the hugs, the youth center volunteer. She's going to be okay, Drake said. I agree, I replied. It's going to take time. He nodded. Good thing we've got plenty of that. I started making dinner while Drake cleaned up the pride gear we'd accumulated. Emma's rainbow hair tie on the counter. The pamphlets. Drake's shirt. Evidence of a day that had gone nothing like we'd planned, but exactly how it needed to. Emma came back into the kitchen as I was chopping vegetables. Aunt Linda wants to know if she can come to my first therapy appointment for support. If you want her there, I said. Emma considered. Maybe. I'll think about it. She started setting the table without being asked. Simple actions but monumental after the past weeks. Mom, Emma said suddenly. I love you and Dad. And I'm sorry I made you feel like that wasn't enough. I put down the knife and hugged her. Love is always enough. Everything else is just details. Drake joined us, wrapping his arms around both of us. We stood there in our kitchen holding each other, while outside the world continued its noisy spin. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. The group might escalate. School would be complicated. Emma would struggle with finding her place in a community that had both welcomed and wounded her. We'd have tough conversations with therapists, with school administrators, possibly with law enforcement if the group didn't back off. But tonight we were together. Our daughter was home, beginning to understand that love doesn't require performance, and support doesn't mean surrender. She'd learned hard lessons about manipulation and toxic communities, about the difference between activism and aggression. The Pride Parade had ended hours ago, but in our kitchen with Emma helping Drake make salad while I stirred pasta sauce, I felt the real pride. Not in flags or slogans or hair dye, but in the simple fact that we'd weathered this storm together. Emma would find her way. She'd build a healthy community, learn to be herself without apology or aggression. She'd make mistakes and have triumphs. She'd figure out what being gay meant for her, not what strangers online told her it should mean. And we'd be there. Not perfect allies, not performative parents, just mom and dad, loving her through it all. That was enough. It had always been enough. So tell me, have you ever faced a situation where you had to fight for your child against external influences, or even against their own choices? What did you do? I'd really love to hear your thoughts.